You're listening to the Kennel Confidential Podcast, brought to you by the United Mountain Feist Association. I'm your host, Davin Ramage.
I'm your co-host, Chad Wagner.
Let's get into the episode. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back and ready to kick off what we're going to call Season 2 of the Kennel Confidential Podcast. After kind of an accidental break, life got in the way, and then squirrel season was up, and Chad keeps leaving me to go to Montana, so we're just now getting started back. I think we might remember how to do this. I'm not sure. Talking comes easy to me, as we all know, but I don't know. I hope I got record, push, and everything, and I remember how to do all that smart stuff.
Well, leaving and going to Montana is getting easy to me, too. I'm going to do it again.
Yeah, you just need to get you a mailbox out there, take up residence. So to kick off this season, we have got Mr. Justin Mitchell with us. One reason we reached out to Justin, not only do we know him and like him, we'll admit that on the podcast, but also because Justin, as far as I'm concerned, the Mitchells are doing their part to keep kids in the sport of hunting, hound hunting, I should say, hunting with dogs, and just kind of felt like that was a good topic to kick it off with before we get deep into the competition season. And Justin also pioneered the UMFA, and we're going to touch on the United Mountain Feist Association a little bit. Anyway, so we will get started. We'll let Justin take a minute to introduce himself. Justin, tell us who you are and where you're from and whatever else makes you tick.
Well, I'm Justin Mitchell. I'm from Williamstown, Kentucky. I got 9 kids, so you can imagine how busy I am. And a lot of them keep me in the woods all the time or working on dogs or something.
Yeah, I've got 3, and sometimes I feel sorry for myself. But, yeah, you put that in perspective a little bit with 9.
Yeah. You don't know which way to go sometimes.
That's right. Well, so one thing I asked Chad, and he really wasn't sure either, is what started the Mitchell kids into hound hunting? Is that something that you did growing up? Do you have a background with dogs, or was it just kind of a bug that bit them and they rode with it?
Well, when I was younger, I hunted until Ayden was born. He might have been 2. I mean, when he was a year old, I was packing him through the woods on my back coon hunting. And it kind of got rough, so I kind of let it go. And then I can't remember, I want to say maybe 5 years ago, a guy down the road had a squirrel dog, and Ayden got interested in it. And he kind of picked it up, and then the hounds fell back into place, and been at it ever since.
So it was bred into him a little bit then. That's what I've never even asked you anytime I've talked to you, so I was kind of curious.
It's a family thing.
Family tradition. That's kind of what I was wondering.
Yeah.
Ayden was the first one to get started in it?
Yeah, he was the first one of mine to ever get started in it. I mean, his first time ever hunting with a hound, and then the next night, he ended up winning the Kentucky State Youth Hunt when he was 12 years old.
He always talks about having
Maybe
bad
he
luck.
should have quit then.
I was going to say, yeah. Every time I talk to Ayden, he thinks he's got bad luck, but that doesn't sound like bad luck to me.
Right.
So I know he's been hunting a lot here lately, and of course, we interviewed him back last year. And can you kind of fill us in on some of the successes he's had since we interviewed him?
Oh, man. I don't know. There's so much. I'll probably miss a few, but I can start. I know this year, 2024, he's got second in overall in Walker Days, which is pretty good accomplishment. I mean, it's not easy.
No, there's a lot of dogs there. I always like looking at that on Facebook.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty neat. It's a good hunt. It's fun. Very, very competitive. He's won quite a few things. I mean, cash-wise, he's won a lot of hunts. But you got to think, we hunt every weekend. I think this year I've probably only been off 2 weekends since probably February.
Off hunting or off work?
Hunting. I never get off work. But let's see, he went to the AKC Youth World. I think he won it this year. And there's a lot. I'd have to really go back and look at all. He can tell you, I'll tell you that. He don't forget nothing.
I don't have Snapchat anymore, but I know he snaps a lot during the hunts and how he does and that sort of thing. I may have to get it just so I can follow Ayden.
Oh, yeah. He keeps you entertained, that's for sure.
He's about to get busy working with that truck he bought.
Yeah, you ain't kidding, 'cause it's a Ford.
Oh, no, wait a minute.
You got Chad on that one. Well, is he still hunting the same? And I'm going to go blank on the name. I didn't do enough research before this started to know it, but it was a Rackham Willie dog. Is he still hunting that same hound coon wise?
No, he's still here. It hasn't cooled off. He actually has Lyme disease, so you got to kind of provide for the weather, kind of work with him with the weather-wise.
Yeah.
But he actually did win the AKC World a little over a month ago, the Youth World. He actually took him to Michigan, where it's kind of cool. Believe it or not, it's like 60 up there, and he ended up winning. But right now, he's actually hunting a dog for a guy that is actually Willie's. It would be Rackham Willie, the stud dog. It would be his half brother.
Is he? Is it a Kentucky fellow that he's hunting them for, or where's the dog from?
Yeah, he's from Kentucky. I want to say around eastern Kentucky somewhere is where he's from.
So as far as his squirrel hunting goes, I've seen that Roxanne moved on, which made me real curious. He's got an ace up his sleeve. I know he does. Has he got a young pup coming up or something that he really likes and he's putting his time in?
Yeah, he's got a couple up his sleeve. You got to watch him. He's got a young dog, and of course he's got one out of Chad's too. That's actually wilder than he's crazy. But it's funny that you said that. Last week, the guy that actually bought Roxanne contacted Ayden and wanted him to take her to hunts again. So you might still see him and her running around somewhere.
I got you.
Now, is that crazy a good crazy or a bad crazy?
Well, it's a good crazy. I mean, it's probably one of the biggest hearted dogs I've ever seen, I believe. I mean, when you cut it loose, it's got big wheels.
How old is it? Will it be ready for the puppy derby?
Yeah, it'll be ready for it.
Male or female?
Both of them are males. He's got two of them.
So they'll have to hunt with you, Chad.
Yeah, me and Ayden always get drawn out together when we get somewhere together anyway, so we might as well do it again.
So moving on through the kids then, I did see the Kentucky Houndsman Association post that your daughter, Hunter, she got a champion female win this weekend with a good-looking Walker Hound. So is she the next upcoming Mitchell we got to watch for?
Maybe in the bench show part. She's wanting to start hunting, but she's still she's only 11, so she does hunt, but she hasn't started competition hunting yet. But so I got another boy. He's 13. He's getting pretty big into it. So his name's Grayson.
Grayson, okay. Yeah, I've seen you post about Grayson. So him and Ayden are pretty close, because Ayden's 15, 16, so they're pretty close.
Yeah, he's 15 and Grayson's 13.
That's pretty handy there, though. You go take your brother out and they can have competitions every night of the week.
Oh, yeah.
Does it ever cause any fist fights? You ever have any Mitchells fighting at the tree?
No, not too. Be honest with you, you hardly ever see them fighting. It's kind of strange, you know. I guess they work it out behind the door, I guess.
Yeah, they're fighting. Dad just don't see it.
Right.
You know, I know you work and get them to the woods and get them to hunts, but how do the kids handle balancing home life, schoolwork, finding time to get in the woods? I mean, it's got to be a lot for them.
I guess they all kind of work together. You know what I mean? Like Ayden, everybody's like, oh, there's no way he's got good grades because he hunts all night, all day and all night. Well, he's got straight A's.
Wow, good for him.
He makes sure he does it. When he's at school, he does the work. You know what I mean?
I grew up hunting, not following dogs, but I didn't have straight A's, and I didn't travel around the country near as much as he does.
Well, he knows if he don't, then he's not going. And
yeah.
I guess the consequences and it's kind of cool because the school works with him too. I mean, he tells his principal and them, hey, I got to hunt here. And they'll say, go on, we'll take care of it.
That's a good school. I like that school.
Yeah.
What about Hunter and Grayson and any other Mitchells that are out fooling with the woods? I mean, they all just come natural schoolwork same way as Ayden. It doesn't cause any. Do they get grounded from their dogs? Maybe I should ask that. You're grounded from your dog. You can't go hunting.
No, I haven't had to do it really, to be honest with you.
Well, good for y'all.
They're all pretty. They're pretty good.
Y'all got a good crop of them then, don't you?
Yeah.
Maybe y'all should write the book.
Lucky.
Julie, that's your wife's name, right? Julie.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all should write a book. I mean, if y'all can keep that many kids minding and doing good in school and in the woods and off the video games and all that, y'all definitely should write a book.
Well, Justin, not only do you do work and run Ayden and the kids all the way around the world and go to hunts. You've also started United Mountain Feist Association. So
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what it takes to start and operate, association like that.
And honestly, it takes a good group of friends and guys to help you along, and it ain't always just me. It takes a lot of help from others, help you do certain things.
Would you consider it pretty daunting of a task to get it going and keep it going?
Yeah, you gotta stay on your toes, and it keeps you on them for sure. And people don't really realize it. They don't realize what people do behind the door. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it takes a lot to put on hunts, and club to use, guides to use, state permits, all that goes into it too.
Yeah, that's right.
What's the mission look like for UMFA?
UMFA, our mission is to keep everybody united together, working together. You see a lot here in the past. You see a lot of mountain fight splitting up from everybody else and down in this person. That's not how our sportsmanship should be. We all should be together and work together.
I think that I know this isn't one of the questions that we had, but I think I want to jump off into this if you don't mind. And I see it all the time on Facebook. What's the difference between a mountain feist and a tree and feist? And we're only talking about UKC here. I mean, there's a bunch of different registries out there, and most registries really, they make a distinction between the two, but they really don't have the breed standards set up to distinguish between the two. So we're just talking about UKC here.
Right.
When it comes to Mountain Feist Association.
Well, the difference between a mountain feist and a tree and feist is, of course, the ears. I mean, a mountain feist's ears, they need to stand up. Well,
on the UTFA standpoint and the side, the answer that I always give to people, and if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong, but when you're looking at the treeing feist breed standards, there's absolutely no difference between the two.
No, there's not.
Because a tree and feist can have up or down ears.
Right.
Cocked ears are preferred. Stand-up ears is acceptable. When you're looking at, and of course there's a couple other differences too, and I'll get into those, but the biggest thing is, like you said, the ears. When you go to a mountain feist, they must have erect ears.
Right.
Of course, if you're looking at the tree and feist, you can't have a pink nose as a tree and feist. I don't believe the mountain feist have that same stipulation.
No, we don't.
I just kindly wanted to throw that out there, and people that's listened, maybe they can, they'll have the correct answer. I guess I'll say, because there's a lot of answers on Facebook that aren't quite right. There's no size difference. There's no size difference in them. There's no weight difference. There's no height difference. I just wanted to kindly, while you was on here, get that correct answer out.
Right.
So the UMFA has their own breed inspectors and all that, right? So someone can bring their dog to your hunt. If that person thinks it's within the standards, they can bring it to one of your hunts and get it inspected and signed off on, right?
Yeah.
When looking at paperwork and that sort of thing, does a mountain feist need to be mountain feist top and bottom? Is there any kind of, how far back can anything else be if anything else is allowed to be in there? Is there any of those standards that maybe off the top of your head you could share?
Yeah, like if you got to come to register a dog or a mountain feist, the NKC papers, it must be mountain feist top and bottom. If there's any type of tree and feist in it, it's considered a tree and feist.
So to me, that would be a big distinction between the two as well, Chad, and correct me if I'm wrong, but as it stands at the moment, mountain feist, they're mountain feist top and bottom, and that's what's got to be on the paperwork. And if there's any tree and feist or something else mixed in there, then they're not going to register it as a mountain feist. But on a tree and feist, as it stands currently, if there is mountain feist and tree and feist on top or bottom, however it played out, that can still be accepted as a tree and feist as it stands, right, Chad?
Yeah, so the way it is right now, if a dog is half mountain feist, half tree and feist, it is a tree and feist. It has to be a mountain feist bred to a mountain feist in order for it to be a mountain feist. if it's half anything else, whether it's half cur or half Spitz or whatever the dog may be, if it's half and half, it can't be registered in either one as a Feist. Is that correct, Justin?
Yes.
I feel like that's just one of the
No.
things on Facebook that sometimes people get confused on. People look at ears and they think, well, mine's standing up. Do I need to go to UMFA and get inspected or UTFA and get inspected? And then when you talk about, the paperwork and what can be on top and bottom, and I just feel like there's some confusion there that in order to bring it to a breed inspector at UMFA, then it's going to need to be Mountain Feist top and bottom, and Tree and Feist could be either way. So maybe that'll clear some Facebook confusion.
Well, in order to get a Feist registered in UKC with 3 pictures and the pedigrees, UKC can register dogs, of course. When it comes to the hunts, it has to be a breed inspector. So UTFA, the board members and officers are breed inspectors. So you come to a UTFA hunt, and one of our board members can look at your dog, inspect it, sign off on it, and you don't need the pictures. I'm sure it's the same for the UMFA as well. It's not just anybody that can be a breed inspector. You have to be a board director or an officer. Along with that, you got to be trusted to make the right calls, and UKC is still kind of new in this. We're putting the breed together, and what we register today is what the breed's going to look like 30 years from now. So, we are picky about getting them registered. And I know that UMFA with the Mountain Feist is picky as well. But we have to be, or we won't have these dogs, 30 years from now.
Right. That was one of my goals when I started all this. It sounds crazy, but my kids are young, and I want my kids to do something that they enjoy. And you want it to keep moving on, and that's my goal, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was my goal, too, with UTFA.
And now that you've said that, it just led me to another question that we should ask a minute ago. With the other 2 Mitchells coming up and getting interested in the dogs, are we going to see Hunter with a Mountain Feist on the show bench? Or Grayson?
I'd say it's very possible.
Well, good. Good deal. And Grayson in the woods with a Mountain Feist?
Yeah, you're probably going to see a few kids with a few Mountain Feist here in the next 4 or 5 years.
That's what I like to hear. I'm trying to get my 7-year-old talked into it. I bought her some chaps. She seems to be excited for now, but she was excited last year, and I've probably told you, or I know I've told Chad, but it's always the night before the hunt. I'll say, all right, honey, it's time to go to bed. You guys sleep. We're getting up early if you're going. No, not this time.
Right.
It's that going to bed and getting up early part that she's not ready for yet.
It won't be long, and she'll be getting up, waking you up at 5 o'clock in the morning, poking on you. Let's go.
I'm hoping this is the year.
I want to give us all 3 a job, if that's okay.
I don't know. I got a lot to do already, Chad.
Well, that's okay. So we're looking at putting together a youth hunt, and while we're talking about the kids and everything, a shoot type hunt. If y'all don't mind, if you've got any youth out there that would be interested in coming down to West Kentucky and going out and with some dogs, and hit us up on Kennel Confidential page or UTFA page or the UMFA page, and that way we can kind of get a count and see if it's how many people would want to do it and worth putting it together. And y'all mind to help me with that, Justin and Davin?
Well, you've put us on the spot. I feel like I can't say no.
Yeah, that's why I did it here. We actually had a hunt, and not to get away from Justin, we had a hunt last week, and ATI came down with a new 410 shotgun, over and under shotgun, that kind of impressed me. And in talking to the guy with ATI, we had talked about doing a youth hunt, and he said that if we got one put together, let him know. He would bring guns and film it for the kids, and ATI would sponsor it. So that's where the talk started coming from.
Yeah, that's a big part, is having somebody to help you along, support it.
Yeah.
Now we'll get to the directors and officers. So who's helping you along, Justin?
Well, I got a pretty good crew. My vice president is the legend, Mr. Earl Reynolds, the Mountain Feist legend, should I say. He's a big part of it. He does a lot of help. He's got a lot of knowledge about the mountain fight, should I say. Another guy that does probably more work than what he should is my secretary, Ayden Mitchell. He's a big, huge part of this. My treasurer is my wife, Julie.
And she's the MVP,
and then I have
right?
What is it?
She's the MVP, right, of the whole organization.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was going to help you with that brownie point there.
Right. And then my 5 board members, I got Jeff Moore from Texas, Chris Posey, which he's up in Ohio. We'll actually be there this coming weekend for our Ohio Classic. And Joey Waltrip, he's from Kentucky. And John Ellison from Texas, and Chris Croucher from the southeast Kentucky. They got a pretty good crew.
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say. You got a good bunch there, and I do agree with you. I think Earl Reynolds' name is synonymous with Mountain Feist. And going back to having a breed inspector and Chad saying that, an individual's got to be able to make the right call and be trusted to make the right call. And to me, when I think Mountain Feist, I think Earl, and I hadn't even met him yet, but still, when I think Mountain Feist, I think Earl. So, I think that you do have a good bunch of people there that, good, honest people that can be trusted to make the right call on a dog.
Right. I mean, I agree. I got a group they're pretty much by the book, you know what I mean? What it says is what it is.
Yeah, and that's what standards are for. And sometimes it all works out and everybody leaves happy, and sometimes people learn something they didn't know, and it causes a sour grape. But that's what standards are for, and as long as we all follow the same rules, then to me that is how either one of these breeds, or any breed for that matter, whether it's a working dog breed or a lap dog breed, if you don't get people to stick to them, then you kind of lose control of your breed. Which also just led me to think, so I've been looking into Cocker Spaniels. My wife wants one, and I want a retriever dog. It's what I think I want. I don't know a thing about them, but I'll find out if I want one. So, and then I've got some family members that have had litters of Frenchies. I got to looking and reading mainly on the Frenchie thing because I was just kind of curious. I don't know anything about Frenchies. I personally wouldn't have one on a bet, but no offense to people that like Frenchies. There's a lot, what I've learned about in the Cocker group and the Frenchie group is there's a lot of, those get into kind of the designer breeds and lap dog, useless dog breeds, and I'm just offending all kinds of dogs today, aren't I? But it's all right. If you can't take a joke, I'm sorry. Anyway, so what I've learned is there's a lot of kind of animosity and debate within both communities for those breeds, that some of these other colors, these merles and the things that you see coming in, don't fit within standards, and dogs are being advertised and sold as AKC registered or whatever, but not sure if they actually are because they don't fit into the standards. And when I see things like that, it kind of makes me appreciate groups like the UMFA and the UTFA that'll hold tight to a standard. You're not out here to make people mad. You're not out here to make enemies. But if you don't hold tight to the standard and you lose control of the breed, and so to me, that's why I appreciate that the UMFA and the UTFA will stick tight to a standard, because that's what it takes to not lose control of your breed like some of these others are.
It's exactly. And I've always said, too, to make things work, we all don't have to agree. And if we all going to agree all the time, then you're never going to get nowhere.
That's exactly right.
That makes sense.
Yeah, no, debate is very healthy for any organization as long as you can find the progress in it.
Right.
Well, now that we've all stood on our soapboxes. to go back to UMFA, how have you seen it grow since you started it? Since you got your group of directors together, and is this the second or third year of it?
It's funny. This is actually, back in August was our first full year. This is our second. We just had an election, so this group of guys here is going to go a full year with me. So at least as this whole group. So we've actually grown a lot, done a lot, and succeeded in a lot of things to start from nothing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I did not make a UMFA hunt last year, so I do apologize. But, I follow all of them on Facebook, and it does seem like, there was always lots of compliments on UMFA hunts, people having a good time and appreciating the kitchen, and the food was good, and the property that you have to hunt was good, judges were good. I haven't seen anyone complain about the UMFA. But it looked like there was always a good turnout, which was, I think, says a lot about an organization, especially to be in its first year and to have good turnouts and be complimented the way that y'all have been.
Yeah. Well, we're very lucky with the support that we have.
So what would be the goals going forward for the UMFA? Any kind of future goal? And I know y'all probably don't sit down and talk about 5-year projections and all that, but just kind of off the hip, where would you like to see the UMFA go?
I mean, I would like to see it. I'd like to see it everywhere, to be honest. But it's something that when I first started into the squirrel dogs, the first part of it, it was kind of different. You would run into certain ways that people think, and then you would come over here and it'd be different. Well, I would like it all to be one, and everybody just have a good time, and everybody hunt together. I mean, win or lose, you still go home. You know what I mean? Winning is not about everything, but that's what we're all there for. If that makes sense.
Yep. We all got a little competitive nature.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can't say, well, everybody shows up to a hunt to win. I don't care who you are. You don't just show up just to be there. But at the same time, I do. I show up just to be there, but I'm trying to support not only my son, but I'll support anybody and try to help them any way I can. And that's just who I am. I'm not in the competition no more. I used to be heavy into it, and it's not my turn no more, so I passed it on.
Yeah, I think you said it right, that everybody that comes to a hunt and pays their money wants to win.
Oh, yeah.
I think the difference is the way I am and the group of people that I kind of look for is the winning isn't everything. Sure, they want to win, right, but if they don't, that's fine too.
Right.
And speaking of hunts, I know you mentioned the Ohio Classic coming up this weekend. I guess tell us a little bit about that, and then also tell us about some of your flagship hunts.
Like I said, October 5th, which is next weekend. Believe it or not, this year's flew by, it seemed like. But we got an Ohio Classic. It'll be our second one. We had one last year, and it was a good turnout, so we decided to try it again. It's going to be in Frankfort, Ohio. Got a lot of interest in it. It seems like it's going to be a pretty good turnout this year. Saturday morning at 8 o'clock is our hunt deadline, the $25 entry. And we got a 1 p.m. hunt also, and we got a bench show at 12. So I look forward to it because I've had a lot of interest, a lot of text calls, messages, newer people that I've never really talked to. So it seems like it's going to be a pretty good turnout.
And what's the format for that? It's not an elimination. Y'all do that on point accumulation, right?
Yeah, just point accumulation.
And is it 1 day or 2 day hunt?
It's just a 1 day.
Yeah, I'm looking at the picture here now from last year's, and you even pulled some of them people down from Michigan, and I see a couple New Yorkers in there. So
yeah, I hope to see them there again. I hope to pull some people. I got some people coming from the Carolinas. Hopefully, this weather don't hold them back.
It is
There's
certainly
some pretty bad storms
right
down
now,
that way.
Yeah, I hate seeing all that on.
Yeah.
Well, so last year it looks like Earl himself was the overall champion. Is he going to bring Pistol back, or is? I feel like, and again, I hadn't met him, but I feel like he's kind of like Ayden. He's got one up his sleeve, and you don't know till he shows up.
Yeah, I'm not sure who he's bringing. I know I'm sure he's got a couple up his sleeve. He's always packing something.
And then Windy Ridge, it shows here, was the overall female, and that's right in their backyard, isn't it? Paint Valley.
Yeah, that's their home club, though.
That's what I was thinking.
Great group of guys. They do a real good job helping us put this hunt on.
So then you also have, I guess your flagship hunt is United Mountain Feist.
Yes, we kind of worked together, and I wanted to do something a little different, and I thought it'd be a good idea. Kind of taking it back where it all started, back in London, Kentucky.
When is that hunt going to be this year?
It's going to be November 2nd. Now that hunt there, I have a pretty good feeling that there's going to be a lot of. I feel like there's going to be a lot of dogs there that we probably haven't seen before. I'm taking it back to the hometown. You know what I mean? Kind of excited about it.
I'm going to try to travel to some more of them and not just be the local yokel here in West Kentucky. Not a whole lot of them, but I'm going to travel when I can. But that's always my favorite part about, the big hunts. Of course, I like the little club hunts. I'm as competitive as anybody, but I always like seeing dogs that I don't typically get to see. That's kind of my favorite part of the big hunts.
Oh, yeah.
I did a lot of
Yeah, you
spectating
get-
last year because my dog was so young, and I always tried to get out on a cast and spectate a different dog or a dog that I won't normally have an opportunity to see, and that was the best part about the big hunts, that you always have the good turnouts.
You know, talking about another flagship hunt that UTFA and UMFA do together is United Feist Days.
That'd be December 6th.
And that's going to be at your club this year, right?
Yeah, it's going to be in Crittenden, Kentucky.
So we kindly have a little deal between the Mountain Feist and Tree and Feist at that hunt, kind of a little friendly thing. And we do a point system to see what association wins. And the Mountain Feist beat us out last year. So, and now we're going to have the hunt in the Mountain Feist's backyard. So us Tree and Feist guys have got to step up and travel and go get our dignity back.
Dignity, there you go. Man, that's kind of a kick in the nuts for old UMFA Justin there. You took our dignity.
Oh, I've been kicking Justin for a while. But I know that we've had a good time working together.
Oh, yeah.
And we've had some good hunts, and I'm sure we're going to have another good hunt coming up in December.
Oh, yeah, I look forward to it.
And that one also, it will be run. Well, all the hunts that we're putting on or you are putting on the Classic, it all runs off of cast wins. It's a 2-round hunt and cast winners. So everybody that's got 2 cast wins, 2 cast wins over 1 cast win. And then it goes by accumulated score to break ties. So is that correct? All 3 of your hunts are like that, right?
Yes, correct.
So the people that's driving from New York or Michigan or North Carolina, they don't have to worry about coming up and not doing very good the first round and having to go home after an hour and a half. They can still hunt all day.
Right, and that's another reason why we stuck to that, because I drove 9-10 hours in the coon hunting world to hunt for 30 minutes and drive back home. And it's not fun. That's a long way to drive just to hunt, hunt and get beat. And then you got to tuck your tail and run. You know what I mean? At least now you got another fighting chance to get in it.
To me, it doesn't matter if you like Mountain Feist or like Tree and Feist or whatever. If you like these little dogs and you've got Tree and Feist, well, we'd love to have you as a member of UTFA. Also, please go support UMFA because they're, it's a different breed. It's Mountain Feist, not Tree and Feist, but they're still trying to do the same thing for the breed as UTFA. They're trying to keep these dogs around for future generations. So, go over there, pay your membership, and support them.
Yeah, I'd appreciate it. We really would. It's always good to have a group of guys. Like, I got friends for life now, if you get what I'm saying. I've met a lot of people, and these squirrel dogs has brought friends for life. I mean, something, even my kids, they talk to these squirrel hunters like, their uncle. And it's kind of funny to see them grow up that way. And I look forward to seeing more kids get into these squirrel dogs anyway. I said something to my, to the board and paid members and stuff. I'd like to challenge every squirrel hunter this winter to grab a kid, take him hunting, take herd hunting. You may change your life right there, and they'll change yours.
I was telling a buddy of mine the other night that my favorite part is when somebody goes out there and sees it done, and they kind of have that aha moment, and they realize how cool it is that you cut a dog loose, and it, she ran in there, she put it up the tree and barked until we got there, and we got to knock it out and have some fun. And I did get the opportunity to take my 7-year-old with me last year. Wasn't shooting season, but limited treat a couple, and so she did kind of get to see it work some, and she enjoyed it. And that's why I had to get her chaps, because when I put mine on and we were in some briars that I had to go pick her up and pack her out, she said, "I need some pants like those." I said, "Well, if you stick with it, we'll get you some." But, my dad had never seen it either, and he hears me talk about it, and he listens to the podcast some, and he was, I think, more of a bird hunter, duck, goose, quail back in the day. And to my knowledge, I don't know that he'd ever seen a tree dog work. And we were out maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, and got to see some squirrels and see some trees. And by the time we got back to his house, that was what he said. He said, I'm impressed with your little dog. He said, I didn't really know what to expect of it, but that was pretty cool to watch her go. And that's my favorite part about it, is just taking somebody new and letting them see that it's fun. It's fun to watch the dog cut loose and do what the dog does. And especially for kids, in my opinion, I never, growing up squirrel hunting, I never got to go with a dog. I just kind of went through the woods and kicked, falling over trees and looked up above my head and just hoped to catch one running. To me, the dog makes being a little more accurate on where the squirrel is. For a young kid, it's not near as boring as just traipsing through the woods. They get to do some shooting, they get to have some fun, and they don't have to be quiet. They don't have to sit still. And I think squirrel hunting in general, we all probably agree, is a good way to introduce kids to hunting, but I think doing it with a dog is even better.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Keeps the kid busy and into it.
Yeah, and they get to...
You don't have to be quiet.
Yeah, my daughter, she got to, once when the squirrel was found and all that, she wanted to hook the leash around Lemon and tie her to the tree. And, I told her, I said, well, she did a good job. You got to bend down there and scratch her head and tell her good girl, too, And I got some good pictures of that, of her scratching the head and telling her good girl and kissing Lemon on the nose and that kind of stuff. And so it gives the kids, they get to interact with the dog a little bit, too. It's not just tripping over sticks and jumping over creeks.
Right.
And a good thing about these feists, whether it's a mountain feist or treeing feist, they make excellent house dogs. So if you're looking for a dual-purpose dog, get your kids out, get them active, get them in the woods, and teach them responsibility at home. These little feist dogs will fit the bill on both of them. But yeah, I'd love to have more kids get involved and ladies too. You get the ladies involved, the kids will get involved too, and I'd like to do that hunt I was mentioning, sometime in December. Matter of fact, I was going to call you this past week and just run out of time, Justin, and mention it to you, but
he was packing his elk
hunting. We need to
stuff.
start working on that.
Yeah.
What's that?
You run out of time because you was packing your elk hunting stuff.
Well, yeah, that too.
Hey, we went hunting this morning, and Bo did not take it easy on us, but he showed me his tin he bought and all that, and he's been playing.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad morning. It was pretty humid, and I got Davin into some hills that we probably shouldn't have got into. But
I needed it.
I need to try to get in shape for the mountains, so it wasn't bad for me.
Oh, yeah, you knew what you was doing, didn't you?
It was a good morning. We did get to see some squirrels. I've not been able to get out as much this year as I did last year. I'm trying to get my life reorganized and back under control where I can sneak away more often. It was good to finally see some squirrels moving today. That was probably the biggest difference. I've been going in hour and 15 minutes or so. We may hit 7 trees and might see 2 squirrels because of leaves. But today I felt like Bo timbered several pretty good. There's a couple times that Bo was timbering and me and Chad were watching Bo because we didn't see the squirrel, but we could tell that he did. I forgot the final score. I'll have to get my phone pulled back.
And we got one on the ground, and I think he about brained himself on a little tree. He was chasing a squirrel and didn't see the tree and run smack into it.
Yeah, it made me cringe.
He probably had a headache.
Oh, yeah, here it is. Bo put the thumping on us. Bo was 650 plus 600 circle by my count, and Lemon was 200 plus 450 circle and 100 minus that I was ready to peel her ears off on. So they didn't take it easy on us. Do what?
Y'all got in squirrels then, didn't you?
Yeah, it was.
We ended up knocking down 7, and I think we seen probably 10 or 11.
Oh yeah, that's a good hunt.
Yeah, it was. It's the best morning I've had yet this year, and it was fun. I just wish that I told Chad maybe when Bo gets up in 12, 13 years old, me and Lemon will finally be able to beat him. I like going. I know Chad always feels sorry for me. He says, well, you want me to take Rascal? You want me to take this one? And no, I want you to bring Bo because that's a good measuring stick.
Yeah. Something to shoot for, isn't it?
That's right, yeah. If I can just hang with you, I've had a good morning. I was talking to a buddy of mine last night about these football games, and he was bent out of shape that UK's not 5-0, and I told him, I said, we didn't have any business beating Georgia, but losing to Georgia by 1 point is a win.
Yes,
in my opinion, That's how I feel about hunting with Bo. If I can just hang with him, I've won. I may not put more plus points up, but if I can hang with him, I've won in my heart. I'm the people's champ.
Right.
y'all blowing a dog up too much. He's just a dog.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah. One thing I want to ask before we get into story time, we've mentioned your wife Julie a couple times, and just circling back around to the family tradition of hound hunting in the Mitchell house. Where does she fit in? Does she like going out in the woods with you, or does she tell you get these kids out of my house and get them in the woods so I can read a book for a minute, or where does Julie fit in?
She has gone out with us a few times here and there, but I mean, like I said, I got 9, so I got one she's getting ready to turn 2, so she kind of stays home a lot right now, but I see here in the future that she's going to be going with us a lot more.
Yeah, I know, and I've seen Julie. She
kind of holds the fort down.
Yeah,
that's a whole lot of fort to hold down too.
Yeah, I was going to say you got a good one like I did. I need mine to hold the fort. If I had to hold this fort down, it'd fall over.
Yeah, right.
Don't tell her I said that. She doesn't listen to the podcast. Don't tell her I said that.
Oh, she already knows that.
Right.
Yeah, but me admitting that's a different.
All good women know they hold the fort down, and all good men know that too.
Right.
Me admitting it's a different thing, though. I got to keep the edge on her a little bit. But I've seen Julie at the hunts, and one thing that I always admired about her, and I don't know if it's the baby that you're talking about getting ready to turn 2. Have you got another one close to the 2-year-old?
I got one that's 4.
It may be the 4-year-old. I remember y'all having the. I saw her there packing, little bitty baby around, packing around the clubhouse and pushing around in the stroller, and just thinking about my young ones. I thought, good for them. I don't know that I'd have had the stomach to pack mine around when they were that little at a the club hunt, just with it being cold outside and the noise and the people talking and. Oh,
right.
Good for y'all for that. So I knew that she does like to tag along, but I didn't know if y'all were just out pleasure hunting, if she was judging the kids on their sibling rivalry hunts or what.
Oh, well, we haven't had very many rivalries. It's kind of let's go, then tomorrow I take a few more. I can't take them all at once.
I'm going to start working on Ayden. I'm going to get a little rivalry built between him and Grayson. I don't guess I've met Grayson very many times, but I'm going to get them going. It's going to be like the turkey bowl or something at y'all's house. I don't know.
Turkey bowl.
Yeah.
Grayson's more talkative.
Yeah. You'll know if you met Grayson.
Well, I'll have to get with him.
He's a lot more talkative. Ayden kind of keep to himself quite a bit, but.
Well, we'll let Chad get circled around to his favorite time here, story time, and either he can pull one out of you that he already knows or talk you into telling us one.
So I like to get funny stories, and I'd like for you to tell us one. It can be on you, it can be on Ayden, it can be on Julie, it can be on Earl. I don't care who it's on. I just like getting a funny story. If it's on somebody else, it's even better because we can kind of keep that going too. But
if you got one on Chad, that'd be great too.
Now that you bring it up, something pretty funny happened last night. Ayden, we was at the Kentucky State hunt. We was in the cast. The hunt was over, and his dog got out of pocket. He treated Ken, and he got out of pocket. He's like 2 miles up a creek. Well, we've had a lot of rain here. I mean, we've probably had 4 or 5 inches in the last 3 days. The guy that was with us said, I'll walk with you, Ayden, and your dad to stay here. Well, they got back to the truck, and Ayden was laughing. I noticed they were soaking wet. It looked like they'd been swimming. And it wasn't raining. It finally got done raining. And I said, Ayden, he was laughing so hard he was crying. I said, what's going on? He said, we had to wade across this creek. And he said, it was pretty deep up to my chest. And he said, the guy, he walked across. He said, it ain't too bad. And all of a sudden he just disappeared and his light was floating down the creek. He said, I didn't know what to think. So he said, I just grabbed a hold of a log and shimmied across. And he said, I got back over there. And he said, buddy, I think my boots filled up and I just walked across the bottom.
Just walked across the bottom.
Yeah, he said it's like rocks. He just walked right up out. He said he looked like something off a movie. Just walked through the water and come out the other side.
That would have been funny.
Oh, yeah. And the scorecard was soaking wet. We had to dry the scorecard out with a heater. It was a mess.
That is a pretty good one.
Well, Justin, one more thing before we go. Tell everybody where they can find some information and stuff on the UMFA in case they want to join or.
To find out where to join and stuff, if you go to our Facebook page, United Mountain Feist Association, there's a link there at the top, and it walks you right through. You can pay online to become a member. It's $15 a year. You get a sticker, and of course you get on the board, the paid member page. But there's actually a link pinned at the top, and it'll walk you right through it. And if not, there's an address on there as well. You can send a check by mail.
And I encourage everybody to go join. I mean, to kind of circle around to what we were talking about earlier. You know, I joined UMFA. I don't have a mountain feist, but I guess we should probably also add, I meant to ask you, but we'll just say it now, that the UMFA hunt is not exclusively mountain feist hunts. They are open to tree and feist, which is one reason I joined. But I'd have joined anyway. You know, I just encourage people to just join all of them. You know, I join what I can if I know somebody there, if the club is semi-close or whatever. You know, I try to shop with the small dog suppliers. You're not small dog and I just mean small business dog suppliers, I should say. You know, I try to spend my money there and support the organizations that support the dogs and support the sport. Even if you may not make it's $15 a year. You can't hardly eat at McDonald's for $15 anymore. You know, so so I encourage everybody to just go join, and if nothing else, just to support the sport, and just to try to keep this going, because I'll try to stay off my soapbox, but you know, with all the crap coming down, Colorado's a long way from us. I realize that, but you know, not to get into conspiracy theories and serve anybody Kool-Aid, but if it's going to happen in Colorado and they're successful doing away with hunting cats with dogs, and I haven't read up on it to be an expert, but I know that it's landing on the ballot. If it can happen in Colorado, it can happen anywhere. You know, a few years ago, it was on Facebook, that guy up in Vermont that was going after the bear hunter for trespassing on his property, and he was trying to get Vermont laws changed and all that stuff for running hounds. Fortunately, you know, the three of us are Kentucky boys, and fortunately for us, I think our state is pretty supportive, and there's, to my knowledge, not any legislation endangering any of it, but that doesn't mean that it won't change tomorrow, you know, in the world that we live in now. So I said I'd stay off my soapbox, and I didn't, but to me, joining these organizations, whether you're going to go or not, just for the love of the sport, if you're not organized in any way, then it's very easy to lose it.
You know, and you make a good point, like with UTFA or UMFA, if, you know, Kentucky Houndsman, you know, Association, numbers matter. Numbers speak. So, you know, if there ever was legislation, you know, going into states where our members are at, and, you know, we could reach out in some form or fashion. We could reach out and say, hey, look, you know, we're, you know, 100 strong, 200 strong, whatever our numbers are. You know, we're Association for Dogs and hunting with dogs. An association with 5 members isn't going to carry much weight. An association with 300 members will carry a little bit more. So, not that really that's what we do. It's an option out there that we could do if needed to be.
Right.
They go after the low-hanging fruit, and they just go after the easy marks, and then they work their way from there. You know, they're not going to go straight after the deer hunters.
Yeah, they're way too.
You know, they're going to go after the easy people first.
That's right.
But yeah, we need to support everybody we can. As you know, everybody's hunting, so support all the hunting groups.
Well, and if you have any trouble at all, Justin is a good enough fellow that if you just reach out to him, he'll help you. But it is pretty easy. I will say that I went through the Facebook page when I joined. I paid on Venmo, PayPal, whatever it was. You know, I paid electronically. It was super easy. Within a couple of weeks, I've got my membership card, and I even. Well,
let's give credit where credit's due. They don't have nothing to do with Justin. Adam's done all that. Adam's done a great job with that.
Well, whoever did it made it really easy. So thank you, Adam. Yeah. But yeah, whoever did it made it really easy. And UTFA is the same way. And I'm terrible with cash and remembering to send checks and all that stuff. Just ask Chris Posey. Actually, I had to send him a check for one of the Paint Valley raffles, and I think he ended up sending me a message saying, hey, that raffle's tomorrow. You mailed that check yet? And I was like, oh, crap, no, it's going out tomorrow, you know. Anyway, so it is handy that you can pay online. I always appreciate that. But anyway, Justin, if you've got something to add, something you want to pitch, or anything else you want to say on UMFA behalf, we'll give you a second, and if not, we can let you go.
Nah, I'm good to go, buddy.
All right.
I appreciate you all.
Appreciate you coming on and talking to us, and we got on a couple soapboxes and veered away from you for a minute, but hopefully we've put a good enough episode together to kind of bring some awareness to UMFA and to what all the Mitchell clan is doing to benefit the houndsmen as a sport. Good luck to Ayden and Grayson, and I look forward to seeing all y'all this fall. So I appreciate it,
look forward to seeing you all.
and we will head out.